I would like to invite the quiz members, Team A, Team B, Team C, Team D. You guys can make pair of 2-2 and come here. And Team D. So guys, are you excited? How are you feeling? Prepared? Let me brief the teams about the rounds. Are you aware of the kind of rounds that we have? No. So basically we have 3 rounds, and 4th round, if we have a tie, then we'll have a 4th round as well. So basically round 1 would be test your aptitude, where I would be giving 1 question to each team, and if you answer it correctly, you get a +10. And there's a negative marking also for this round. So if you basically cannot answer this correctly, then -1. I will not be passing on questions of this particular round. Then we move to round 2, which is what is PM Modi speaking about. It's an audio-visual round where you would be seeing an audio and a visual would be played. And you have to guess that what exactly, where exactly this thing happened. So again, for this, we have, you'll get all the details here. So for this, we have +10 and we have -1, but there is a bonus point. So say team A is unable to answer, then I open the floor for all the teams. Whosoever will initiate first, they will get the chance to answer. And they will get a bonus point of, they will get 10 points as bonus. Then we move to round 3, which is can you identify? There would be a picture, there would be a text, and basis that you would be asked to identify. Here there won't be any negative marking. You will be getting +10, and also there would be a bonus. So I'll pass on the question if one team is unable to answer. So are we clear on that? And if only we have a tie, then I'll put on questions basis that, and that will be purely first come first basis. So starting with the first round, test your aptitude. And this question will go to team A. So the question is for team A, which world-class train has revolutionized the Indian railway system by offering a blend of high-speed travel, comfort and efficiency? Your options are Vande Bharat Express, B. Shatabdi Express, C. Rajdhani Express, and D. Duronto Express. And I would request other teams not to give any hint. Let the team who has this question with them answer. And you have to answer that it's within 10 seconds. We have a time limit.
It's like option A, Vande Bharat Express, ma'am.
Great. Vande Bharat Express is the correct answer. Congratulations. 10 points to team A. Now moving on, second question. What is the world's largest digital identity program? A. PAN, B. Udyam, C. Aadhaar, D. GEM.
Option C, Aadhaar.
That is the correct answer. Congratulations. 10 points for team B. Now the third question, which is for team C. At the last edition of the Olympics in Tokyo, javelin maestro Neeraj Chopra won India's first Olympic medal, gold medal in athletes. Ace shooter PV Sindhu and boxer Lovlina Bolgan won a bronze medal. Which Indian government initiative supports these athletes with top tier training? A. Khelo India, B. Fit India Movement, C. Target Olympic Podium Scheme, TOPS, D is none of the above. Team C?
Hello India.
Sorry, that is the wrong answer. It is Target Olympic Podium Scheme, TOPS. C. Now moving on to the last question of this round. Which scheme has been instrumental in providing loans to over 43 crore small and budding entrepreneurs? A is PM Kisan Yojana, B is PM Swamnidhi, C PM Udan, and D is PM Mudra.
Option D, Mudra.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. 10 points for team D. Now we move on to the next round, which is audio visual round. What is PM Modi speaking about? I have already told you about the rules here. Just a minute. Let me re-explain. So you will be given 10 seconds to answer, not more than that. Also, here there is 10 marks for correct answering, -1, as we did in the first round. But here you get a bonus also. So say team A is unable to answer, you guys can get a chance. Whosoever is prompt enough to answer here. So you have to raise your hands and then answer. Okay? So it's a good chance to win extra bonus points. So can we start now? Are you ready? So round 2 is
सामर्थ्य, ये स्वदेशी सामर्थ्य, स्वदेशी संसाधन और स्वदेशी कौशल का प्रतीक है। इसके एयरबेस में जो स्टील लगी है,
this is for team A.
वो स्टील भी स्वदेशी है। ये स्टील डीआरडीओ के वैज्ञानिकों ने विकसित किया, भारत की कंपनियों ने प्रोड्यूस किया।
So I'll read out the text for you. It's a symbol of indigenous potential, indigenous resources and indigenous skills. The steel used in its airbase is also indigenous. This steel was developed by DRDO scientists and produced by Indian companies. And this is a clip of PM of India, which when he's congratulating on an achievement of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a first for one of the 3 armed forces. Now you have to name this achievement.
Honorable Mr. Prime Minister Modi is speaking about Make in India and helicopter related things, ma'am. Like the biggest company, like industry has been opened in Tumkur, ma'am. Make in India.
You are giving me a very broader perspective. Basically, he's talking about a particular thing here.
Yeah, ma'am. Like basically it is about Make in India, ma'am.
No. I mean, it is about Make in India, but he's talking about a particular, see, he's saying the steel used in its air base is also indigenous.
Steel, ma'am. Like steel's about things, ma'am.
So, basically, this is not the right answer. Anyone who would want to take a chance here? Anyone? Team B, C, D? So that was INS Vikrant. Yes. So now moving on to question 2 for Team B.
इस योजना से गांव गरीब तक सरकारी लाभ सीधे पहुंचाने में तो मदद मिली ही है और साथ ही महिलाओं, दलितों, पिछड़ों, आदिवासियों के रोजगार और स्वरोजगार को इससे बहुत बल मिला है।
So Team B, this is for you. With this scheme, the welfare has reached every village, every poor person in India. This also has benefited women, Dalits, other backward classes and tribals in the form of employment and helped in creating entrepreneurship as well. Which scheme is PM Modi referring to that has bolstered direct benefit transfer directly to beneficiaries and also helped create jobs?
Is it about Swadesh movement?
No. Sorry? Yeah, of course, it's a bonus round.
Jan Dhan Yojana?
Yes, absolutely. So, bonus point for Team C. Now, moving forward with Team C's question.
हम वहां पहुंचे जहां कोई नहीं पहुंचा। हमने वो किया जो पहले कभी किसी ने नहीं किया था। ये आज का भारत है, निर्भीक भारत, जुझारू भारत। ये वो भारत है जो नया सोचता है, नए तरीके से सोचता है, जो डार्क जोन में जाकर भी दुनिया में रोशनी की किरण फैला देता है।
Team C, your question is, we reached the spot where no one had ever reached before. We did what no one had ever done before. This is today's India, fearless India, warrior India. This India thinks in a new way and spreads the beam of light in the world even after getting into the dark zone. Your question here is, India's Chandrayaan 3 successfully landed on the moon. This made the only nation to land on the south pole of the moon. What is the name of the landing site? Guys, you have 10 seconds to answer. Otherwise, it's open to all the teams. Just a minute. Okay, team D. They raised their hands first. Sorry.
The name of the landing site is Shiv Shakti.
Yes, absolutely correct. Now moving to the last question of this round.
हमें मानव जाति की विकास यात्रा में उस नए पड़ाव को अगर प्राप्त करना है, राष्ट्र के विकास यात्रा में हमने नई मंजिलों को पाना है, तो ये आवश्यक है कि विमेन लेड डेवलपमेंट को हम बल दें और G20 में भारत की इस बात को विश्व ने स्वीकार किया।
This is for Team D. If we want to achieve new milestones in the journey of human development and reach new destinations in the nation's development journey, then it is necessary that we embrace women-led development. The world has accepted Bharat's perspective in the G20. The question is, India under PM Modi has shifted from women development to women-led development. Name the first act passed in the new parliament empowering women through representation.
Women Reservation Bill.
Yes, you are correct. No, I need the exact name. No, I need the exact name of this bill, which you just called Women Reservation Bill, which is not complete. You are there? No. I don't want the details. I just want the name. I want the Hindi name for this. I'm giving you this hint also. Okay. We will not give you any negative marks because your answer was not exactly wrong. It was just not, you were not 100% correct. Yes, over to Team A.
Amendment 106, ma'am.
No. I mean, see, we want the name of the Women Reservation Bill. That's what. What's the name of the Women Reservation Bill? Anyone else who want to take the guesses?
Nari Shakti.
Entire name.
Nari Shakti. Amendment Act of 106, Nari Shakti, ma'am. Nari Shakti.
There are two more words with this. I'm giving you the hint. You said Nari Shakti. There are two more words associated in this. Anyone wants to take that? There won't be any minus marks you can attempt because this is not exactly the question. This was for Team D, but we are not giving you any negative marking here. No. Anyone in the audience who would want to answer this? Guys, please raise hands and we'll pass on the mic. Yes, please.
Nari Shakti Nirman Bharat.
No. Anyone on the left hand side who would want to answer? Okay, so for this fourth question, no marks to any of the team. The bill is Women Reservation Bill 2023. The name is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. So we are now moving forward to round 3. Here you have to identify and just a minute, let me tell you the rules again. 10 points if you get the answer correct. There is no negative marking here and bonus if you are able to take on the questions of other teams. So starting from question 1, which goes to Team A. This picture was taken in the event held in September 2023 New Delhi. Can you identify the defining moment? Only if they are unable to answer.
G20 movement, ma'am.
It is G20 movement. You are right. Okay, we'll give you 10 points to Team A. This is G20 Global South given permanent membership. Now moving to the next question, which is with Team B. At 182 meters, this is world's tallest statue dedicated to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Can you identify in which state is it located?
It's located in the banks of Narmada in Gujarat.
Yes, absolutely correct. One huge round of applause to Team B. And plus 10 to Team B. Now moving forward, question 3 to Team C. This mission by India safely brought back over 20,000 students from war-torn Ukraine. Can you identify the mission? We want the name of this mission. Anyone who wants to, so it's not automatically passing on to the next team. Any team can now volunteer to answer if they have the correct answer or if they feel they know the answer.
Operation Ganga.
Operation Ganga is the right answer, correct answer. Plus 10 points to Team A. Yeah, bonus points. Now this is the last question. This is for Team D. PM Modi recently participated in a program marking culmination of Amrit Kalash Yatra. Can you identify this campaign? Team D, you will get 10 seconds only.
Azadi Amrit Mahotsav.
No. This campaign has just concluded. I can give you this much hint. Very recently. Should we pass it on then? Anyone else who wants to volunteer? Team ABC? The floor is open for you. Whosoever will volunteer will give me the right answer will get bonus points.
Like goods, products collecting from villages.
That was the narrative of the campaign, but that's not the name. I need the name. So, no marks for any of the team. So, with this, our quiz has ended. Let me just quickly check if we have a tie or not. We don't have a tie. It's a clear, no tie situation. Okay, so we will announce the winners once our chief guest is here. Meanwhile, you guys can go take your seats. Thanks a lot for participating. One huge round of applause for the participants.
I request Tejasvi sir to give the certificates to the winning team. The winners are, any guess? Team A. Team A has won.
How many of you here have heard of the word startup? Amazing. Can any of you name the startups that you are aware of? Zerodha. Then Big Basket, Zepto, Swiggy, Zomato, Ola, and Flipkart, Nykaa. Yes, so this is great news, okay? This is a great place to start. You guys know what a startup is, right? You are at least naming what these startups are. So who amongst you can define what a startup is? You guys named what startups are, but what is a startup? What is considered as a startup?
Good evening, sir. A startup is setting a financial organization efficiently, which serves even the country and people very efficiently.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Startups? Anybody wants to define? It can be wrong, it's okay.
Startup is a company started by one or more entrepreneurs who wanna build their product or start a service for something which it is in provide, like which is in demand.
Super. Very interesting to, he spoke about a financial organization, which means that you're starting an organization which has a for-profit motive, which is going to either give a product or a service which is solving a particular problem. That way you're adding some value to society, right? And you're getting paid for either providing that service or creating that product. So this essentially is a startup. And like you said, it is generally used or rather based on a technology platform. So these startups, another than first year kelde, even before I went to the slide, and I wanted to understand whether you are even aware of what a startup is, whether we know the existing startups in the economy today, and what it essentially means. Now, what this is proving, Andre, I will tell you something. About 10 years ago, I was in college. And if 10 years ago, a guest had come and perhaps asked this question, I would have no answer to give. And perhaps the guest himself would not be asking a question as to what is a startup. Because before 10 years ago, there did not exist a vibrant startup culture or ecosystem in the country. If it has started today, it is thanks to this one man, the Prime Minister of this country, Narendra Modi. Now, round A, round B funding, IPO, exits, valuation of a company, unicorn. Have you heard of all of these terms? Are we familiar with these terms? All of these terms were absolutely foreign, had no place in a young Indian's vocabulary just a few years ago. But today, all across the country, it's not that this is a phenomenon in Bangalore. It's a phenomenon all through the country, especially in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, that the common young Indian today, his lingua has changed, his language has changed, and he's speaking of valuations, he's speaking of startup, he's speaking of angel investing, he's speaking of incubation, bootstrapping, angel investment, pitching an idea. This is an indication that there is something interesting that is happening in the country, which the generation before us did not have access to or was not a part of. The next 20-25 minutes, we will understand how did this startup revolution start? What did the government do to encourage startups? What are the specific policies that were done to encourage this? Why it is important? And what is it that you and I, as young Indians, especially engineering graduates who are have just started their sojourn journey as engineering graduates, what do you have to gain from all of this? How do you stand to benefit out of the startup revolution? So, now, it is in the early 1900s that the notion of a startup emerged. Most of the global companies today, the multinational companies, whether it is Apple, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google, whether it is, Cisco, many of these companies, which are household names across the world today, most of them started out as a small entrepreneurial kickstart, which was called as a startup. And most of them used the internet and the technology to not only do their operations, but also scale their operations. So if you read the story of how Google was found or how Apple was founded, you will come across anecdotes of these founders starting these enterprises from their garage. Right? Most of them have these stories. So this was essentially a phenomenon in the West, in the United States primarily, and allinda ಯುರೋಪಿಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ದಿದೆ, ಟೆಸ್ಲಾದಿದೆ, ಲಿಂಕ್ಡ್ಇನ್ ಇದೆ, ಊಬರ್ದಿದೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. After 2000 is when this gained massive momentum all over the world. And ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ that India's telecom revolution truly began when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. If you will ask your parents, they will tell you that for the first time in the country, national highways connecting all parts of the country, called the Golden Quadrilateral, was first constructed under Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, if that was ensuring physical connectivity of the country, efforts were made to also penetrate digital connectivity of the country. So the initial internet, initial telecommunications, infrastructure and ecosystem, and the IT policy and starting up and encouraging of the IT parks, all of that began and got a lot of thrust and encouragement during the 1998 to 2004 kind of a period. So that's when it started slowly. I will give you an example, and I urge all of you to go on YouTube, and especially as Kannadigas and as Bengalurians, it is important for us to understand how Narayan Murthy and his team built Infosys. Because Infosys is that one name which is synonymous with India's IT revolution. Narayan Murthy in an interview says that when they began Infosys and they had to import computers from America, he had to visit Delhi 50 times. And it took him 3 years. This ministry, that department, this officer, that person, to import how many? 5 computers. Because the system and the government had made rules in such a way that young people or young enterprises, if they wanted to start something new, could just not flourish. And this was not true just for electronics or IT industry. It was the same even if you wanted to start an education institution. I'm sure if you will speak to, Paramahamsa sir, he will tell you how the kind of challenges he would have faced to convince government officers, departments, ministers, this, that, running around from pillar to post. As a result of that, there was no encouragement per se for young people to start businesses and technology-led businesses. So much so that 2014, India had about 150 odd startups. 2014, India had about 100 odd startups, 3-digit startups. You know how many startups are there in India today? How many startups? 1,25,000 registered startups in the last 9 years. Imagine 9 years ago, 3 digital ittu, around 150, 200. Today you have 1,25,000 plus registered startups. This is the startup revolution. Now, India is not just a domestic hub for startups. Among the world, at the global level, India is the third largest startup ecosystem. Third largest startup ecosystem. And guess which is the epicenter of this startup revolution in India? ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು. 100 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಪ್ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಶುರು ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ 40 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಪ್ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಶುರುವಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಟ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟ್ ರಿಚ್, ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ರಿಚ್, ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ರಿಚ್ ಸಿಟಿಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್, ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ earlier that you will realize how lucky and fortunate we are to be here. So the kind of access that you will get to resources, to skill sets, to networks, to mentors, to opportunities, by the sheer fact that you are geographically present in Bangalore, you are so lucky. ಇದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್, ಲೆಟ್ us understand how the India scenario changed the startups, why it is important. Okay, now for example, how many of you agree that to become a very important voice at the global level, India needs to become economically powerful? Whether it is industries, whether it is service companies, any of these things, it is extremely crucial to make the country rich. This is at the country level. Now at an individual level, imagine if you have an idea, okay, you think that there's a particular problem and that problem needs to be solved. And you think that, okay, by solving that problem, you will be adding some value to society, and then society can actually pay you for solving that problem. Should you not have the freedom to start an organization, a financial company, to act on your company, on your idea? That is what is a startup. So it's innovation and solving problems. That is essentially what has happened because of the startup revolution. Now, what has the government done to support this? There are 3 things. One, there's an infrastructure that is needed for startups to survive and work. That infrastructure is of 2 kinds. One is the digital infrastructure, the second is the physical infrastructure. Second, suppose somebody amongst you here has an idea to start a business, right? What is the first thing that you need to execute your business? What do you need? You need money, right? You need capital. So you need funding. So the second support that the government is providing is the capital support, the funding support. The third thing is, there are certain businesses, certain ideas that you can execute at a small level, but then there are certain ideas that you only can execute at scale, and to execute at scale, you will need industry level support. You will need support from, say, suppose I was being told that, they were explaining, the principal was explaining how many patents were filed, how many applications were filed. Suppose you have done some cutting edge research. Now you need to protect your intellectual property. So you need patent laws to protect your intellectual property. So the government has provided 3 kinds of support under the leadership of the Prime Minister over the last 9 years. 1, physical infrastructure and digital infrastructure. Second, funding and capital support. Third, industry level partnership and legal framework setting up so that if you want to do something, your ideas are protected. Now let us understand what these 3 are and how did they work. Now the government started on 2016 January is when the Startup India initiative was launched. Now, in the last 5 years, about 13,000 crore rupees is the funding that the startups have received. 13,000 crore rupees, this is just the government of India funding that is there. If, for example, you will know that an Ola or a Uber or Zepto or Paytm or Amazon Pay, all of these have millions of dollars of investment from foreign venture capitalists. It's not government funding, but this is government funding of 13,000 crore rupees just to start up, just to start your company. And then you do something big, you approach the VCs, you approach the angels, and then they will give you the money. So now I will give you an example of the digital infrastructure that was created. Okay? Now what is this digital infrastructure? I will give you a very simple example that all of you can relate to. Governments all across the world till now had only built physical infrastructure. Now what is physical infrastructure? Building a highway, building a port, airport, expressway, metro, suburban rail. Alva? These are all examples of physical infrastructure. So essentially this is what the governments all around the world had built. The only government in the whole world to build public digital infrastructure upon which people outside of the government apparatus could build products and services, the only government and the only country to have built digital public infrastructure at population scale is Bharat. Now what do we mean by digital public goods infrastructure? Yar example kodbodu? An example of what is a digital public infrastructure. Can anybody give an example? Yenidu anta? UPI. UPI is a brilliant example. Aadhaar is another example. Gottagtidiya nimge enenu anta? Now, government 2014 ಅಲ್ಲಿ Prime Minister ಪವರಿಗೆ ಬಂದರು. The very first thing that he realized was that about 50% of the country's population did not have access to as basic a facility as a bank account. ಏನಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜನಕ್ಕಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ? 50% of the country's population did not have. That too 70 years after independence. Now, if you don't have a bank account, what happens immediately? You will not have access to formal banking system. You will have no savings. You will have no access to insurance. If you want to start a business, you will have no access to institutional credit. So you need to establish that a person who claims to be X is indeed X. So how do you prove that? You need an identity card. How do you give an identity card and prove that person with him? We use the power of digital. We used biometrics, we used fingerprints, we used eye detection. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ biometrics use ಮಾಡಿ we proved that if this person who claims to be X is indeed this person. And because it was digitized, it became so easy to verify the identity of an individual. And the government did that at population scale. Imagine this we accomplished. There was a recent study which said that if there was no digital, if there was no Aadhaar, and if there was no UPI, Jandan accounts creation, 49 crore, close to 50 crore Jandan accounts which got created in 5 years, it would have taken 45 years to create that many bank accounts. This was the recent study. Now I will give you an example of digital public goods, Aadhaar, UPI, NPCI, all of these things. Now I'll tell you how this is being used. How government built this, but there are private people who are helping you to make your life easier. Starting from booking your airline ticket on a Make My Trip, to booking a cab on Uber, to using a FASTag, to using DigiYatra, every single product is built on the digital public infrastructure base that the government built. And all of these products, whether it is DigiYatra, whether it is PhonePe, whether it is Uber, whether it is Ola, all of these are private companies which have built products and solutions. This is essentially what has driven the country's startup ecosystem. If your Jandan account, Aadhaar mobile is not connected, how will you use, say, Zerodha to invest? How will you use any platform to do trading? You have to establish your KYC. KYC is established through Aadhaar. So this is the only example in the world where government has built a public digital infrastructure over which all of you as young thinking minds can build products. I was in Norway recently, just a couple of months ago. The whole of Norway's population is less than the population of Bangalore. And Norway found it unbelievable that India could achieve the world's largest vaccination drive in the shortest period of time, in the most seamless manner, with the cheapest rates for 140 crore people. We could do it because of digital. So this is the power of having a infrastructure process. Now there were so many things that the government did. Like for example, there was no GST in the country. So what did GST do? It essentially created one nation, one market. One nation, one tax. This is exactly what it created. Now by making this infrastructure available, you now have apps and products like delivery, porter, let's transport. Imagine how easily these companies are sending one product that you have ordered from Bangalore. They attempt a delivery, didn't happen, send it back to Hyderabad. Somebody else orders, the same thing is sent to Lucknow. How did this happen? Because of GST. One nation, one tax, one nation, one market. This is one way of facilitating the whole startup system. The second example, suppose you start a company, okay? And you realize that your company is failing. Your company is not doing well. Avag ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೀವು? What is the option you have? You have to close that company and start something new. Correct? If a particular idea or a particular venture is not succeeding, the quicker you close it and move on to the next one, the better it is for you. But believe me when I say this, before the government introduced the insolvency bankruptcy code, okay, which helps you to start a company easily and close a company easily. Can you believe this? If you had to close down an unprofitable venture, it would take you 3 years. You had to go to High Court, get a liquidator appointed. What all was the procedures? Now what the government did, because startups are born quickly, most of them die quickly, and something new is started. If you will talk to an entrepreneur, they identify themselves as serial entrepreneurs. Right? Have you heard of this term? Kelidira? Now when a serial entrepreneur, he started A did not succeed. He started B did not succeed. He started C succeeded. Or he started 1, 2, 3, all succeeded. So the ease to start a company and the ease to close a company is what the IBC facilitated. So you had so many laws that were made, right? Like GST was made, IBC was made, labor laws were made. Today, directly or indirectly, there are more than 23 lakh young people who are employed by these startups. 23 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ employment ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. Because these laws were made. Then I spoke about the funding aspect. If you want to start up, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ದುಡ್ಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಅದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? So there was a 10,000 crore fund that was started, a credit guarantee scheme was availed, and intellectual property idana support kotru. So today there are 1,000 plus incubators that are enlisted in the startup incubation policy under the Startup India initiative. Now Rahul was making a point when he was speaking to me earlier that he wants to start an incubation center, Atal Innovation Center, supported by the government of India here. Now look at this. In higher education institutions, in 2019, there was 871 innovation cell. And today, there are 3,200 plus higher education institutions in the country which have an incubation cell. Now, what is this incubation cell? Let me take a minute to explain to you, because whenever Rahul makes this possible in the institution, it is going to help all of you directly. Suppose you have an idea. Like 2 girls here, 2 boys here, you come together, want to start something new. Now, somebody should handhold you, mentor you, tell you, okay, this is a good business plan, this is not a good business plan, this is a good go-to-market strategy, this is not good, maybe you can tweak your plan like this. Okay, why don't you try a small pilot, right? To explain all of this to you and to support you, you need what is called as an incubation center. Before you go to the market, the product and the idea or the service is tested. And most of these successful companies are out of college companies. So where does innovation start? Innovation starts at your first year. And through the 4 years that you're in college, you would have worked on an idea, gotten some networking support, got some funding support, mentoring support. And by the time you get out of college the 4th year, you need not stand in queue for campus placement. You yourself can come here to campus and hire 4 other people to start your own startup. That is the idea behind the higher education institution startup. The support for this, I told you, this is what they do: orientation, awareness, exposure visits, trainings, workshops, resource access, all of this. Nanondag helde gotta that most of the startups in India are not coming only from Bangalore or cities like this. It comes from tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Just look at this. While Karnataka has a large share of the startups, you have in Uttar Pradesh some 9,000, Gujarat, Telangana, Tamil Nadu. See, the majority of Indian startups are from tier 2, tier 3 cities. And when we speak of startups, somebody recently asked me, what do you think is the most necessary quality for an entrepreneur? And my answer to him was very simple. Whether it is a businessman or a political activist, he must know convincingly well his immediate surroundings and the place that he is living in. Because he should be solving problems for his immediate surrounding. Now look at these things. If you see the amount of money that has gone into our agricultural startups, you will have 410 plus active investors in the agri-tech startup space. It is an indication that tomorrow you need not always go and solve some problem that is not immediately touching people's lives. Agro processing, ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಡ್ರೋನ್ ಬಳಸಿ ಇಮೇಜಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. There are so many tech-based startups that is working in agriculture. Look at that. $2 billion plus funding agri-tech startups in the country have got. And today, it is not just agri-tech. Look at that last one, space tech. while Tesla is focusing on building rockets and going to Mars, there are Indian startups like Skyroot, which is based out of Hyderabad, which is building satellites and missiles, competing and collaborating with ISRO. Our founder's age is to gota 27, 28 years old. That is the money that they have got, $250 million plus dollars in our space startups. So now you see that India has become a unicorn hub. Before 2014, the total number of startups that the country had, was 100 something. And today we have 100 plus unicorns. That is the difference. And just look at this. The first line here, you only have to read this to understand what is there. 1 out of 10 unicorns globally are today born in India. 1 out of 10. That is the pace at which our unicorns are developing. Illiro hudgurige innond vishya. The reason why we need to be upping our game. Look at that. 46% of startups in India have at least one woman director. So at the leadership levels, people who are starting this up, so see this, the Startup India revolution is not just a Bengaluru urban male phenomena. It is a pan-India phenomena with tier 1, tier 2 cities participating in a large manner, and it is breaking gender barriers because more than 46% of startups have more than one woman director. That is the level to which the startup revolution has percolated. Just look at this one slide. In 2014, the total funding amount that Indian startups had got was $5 billion. 2023, how much? How much? From $5 billion to $141 billion. That is the India startup story for you. We had 350 startups in 2014. We today have 1 lakh plus startups. We had 4 unicorns in 2014 and we have 100 plus unicorns in 2023 today. Now when people ask you, what is the magic that Narendra Modi has done for the young people of this country? This is what you must be telling, that Narendra Modi has given wings to young people to fly high and make their dreams come true. This is what has happened. Now, I only want to leave you all with last one thought. Okay? Now, in 2022 alone, they have created 2.69 lakh jobs. Imagine why it is so important. The reason why the startup revolution is important is because just homegrown startups can create 2.69 lakh jobs for young people and freshers, which is why this is so important. Now, who are the people driving this? Who are the people driving this? And why was it important for us to make this presentation in this college campus and not in any other place where we would have had an older crowd? The startup revolution is being led by young India. It is not the creation of the old. It is the youngsters of India who are leading India's startup revolution. Look at this. Most of the startup founders are in the age group of 26 to 35 years. 26 to 35 years age group ಅವರೇನೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಪ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನ ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. also you will see 20 to 25 years से 15% startup founders इधर है. People who are maybe a few years older than you, they are all founders of startups today. So when I spoke earlier and I told you to dream big, and dream so big that you want to dominate the world with your idea, I am telling you that it is possible because there are millions of other young Indians of your age who are trying to dream something like that and also are achieving it. The purpose of this presentation, friends, is to instill in you hope, belief that you can do it too. If somebody 22 years old is founding a startup, why can't you? This is the only thought that I want to implant here. If somebody in 30 years old, 28 years old is building a startup of this kind, so can you. So this is the time for us to make a true difference, and 72% of startup founders are less than 35 years old. 72%. So this is the whole difference. This is what it has happened because the country is moving ahead in a fast-paced manner. Thank you so much. This is all the presentation was.
सही समय है